and welcome to IndieSider, where I play indie games and then interview the developers. My name is Ken Gaggy, and this week I'm playing Catlateral Damage, released in May for PC, Mac, and Linux via Steam for $10 by Mr. Chris Chung, who I'll be speaking with later in this episode. You can skip ahead to the interview or listen to it on iTunes at IndieSider.net/iTunes if you like. But I'll be playing the objective mode, and I get to choose a cat to play as, because this game is a first-person cat simulator. Now this cat will look kind of like my parents' cat, Kramer, so I'm going to play as him. I have my PlayStation 4 joystick plugged in, and I am using it to play this game where you are wandering around a procedurally generated house, and the house is only the first level, and your job is to knock everything onto the floor. You have your right paw, your left paw, your aiming reticule, which looks like a nose, and you can jump, and there is a meow button. And that's pretty much it. You can also use the triggers on the PS4. And I'm just gonna knock crap the heck off. Bam, bam, boom. And this is the entire game. As you progress through the level, there are actually different power-ups you can find to make your cat faster or jump higher. There are new objectives and foes to defeat, like the wicked red laser pointer. And there are more levels. You can actually unlock a key to a museum, where you can knock off things like dinosaur skeletons and much more expensive stuff. Although even right here within the house, there is a variety of expensive stuff to find. Let's see if we can go into some other rooms and see what's here. We have a treadmill. Oh, it's actually on. So this is a rather cute idea right here. I wish I could get a third-person shot of that. There are photos of cats in the game. Whoa, event. Ooh, red dot. Where's the red dot? Where's the red dot? Get it. Gotta get it. Get the red dot. Ooh. Where is it? Oh, gotta get it. Ooh, yeah, bam. Ooh. No, 77 seconds to get all the dead. Okay, get the dot. Where's the dot? Gotta get the dot. Come back. Gotta get the dot. So those photos I was trying to point out to you are photos of actual people's cats, like that one, who, those photos are in the game because this game was backed on Kickstarter in May of 2014. Chris Chung asked for $40,000 and got $60,000, and one of the rewards was you can have your cat in the game. Some cats are simply photos, some cats are playable. The cat I am playing as now. I believe, yes, I got a force field. So now what? Things, I can just walk over things and push them aside. Can I push the treadmill aside? No. But what other things can I push aside? Bam! Shoving everything aside. Oh my gosh, look at all those books. They just went flying. My owner is gonna be so peeved at me. This is fantastic. Haven't you always wanted to be a cat too? Yay, new photo unlock. I unlocked a photo of Theo. That is somebody else's cat who paid to be in this game via Kickstarter. So this is a time-based level. You can see there's another 4 minutes to go. But I'm going to continue that level. I'm going to continue knocking everything off. I'm going to play another level while I bring on developer Chris Chung for an interview. So let's go ahead and do that. Today I'm speaking with Chris Chung, creator and developer of Catlateral Damage, released on Steam for PC, Mac, and Linux. Hi, Chris.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm very good.
Excellent. So Catlateral Damage has been making headlines for literally years. People have been waiting for this game. It's been available on Steam Early Access, is that correct?
Yes. Yep.
There also is a free web-based version of the game?
Yeah, there was for a while. I actually took it down recently.
Gotcha.
It was broken in Chrome.
And you have to focus your development on the main product.
Right.
And the main product is originally created years ago for a 7-day first-person shooter game jam, a 7D FPS. And when you released that title, you had the idea for a first-person cat simulator based on your childhood cat Nippy, who's always knocking things off cabinets and counters.
Mm-hmm.
But what made you think after just 7 days, I can't just leave this here as part of a game jam? Because very often, ideas are tested in a game jam and then adapted into a full game, but it sounds like you actually realized you had a full game in that game jam, and you had to dedicate the next 2 years of your life to realizing that dream. How did you go from just a game jam to a full product?
So I had been doing a bunch of little online game jams before, and I always, I'll put something up and read all the comments on it, and everything I've put up before was just, maybe a few people would play them. So this was kind of like the first game jam project that I put up that got a decent amount of like hits on it. There were, a bunch of people saying they liked it and it was a funny idea, and it got mentioned in some of the press around the game jam. So I think shortly after I put it up, I think it was like Rock Paper Shotgun and maybe Kotaku posted about it. So that was like the first, I guess, press I had ever gotten on something that I made. And I think it was at that point I was like, this is a decent amount of people. It wasn't a lot, but it was enough people talking about it that I figured maybe if I worked on it a little bit more, it could be kind of like my first commercial release. And it actually wasn't until the following January, like 3 or 4 months later, that it just kind of, I had been working on it part-time and it kind of just exploded on the internet. And it was like front page of Reddit and all these gaming sites again. And that was kind of when I knew it was like, well, I kind of have to do this now. Like there are a lot of people looking at this game now.
You mentioned Kotaku, Rock Paper Shotgun, Reddit. Those are not small names. How did you get your game in front of such large audiences?
That's a good question. A lot of things that I've seen, especially in regards to indie development, is you really have to kind of talk to the press a lot and kind of tell everybody about the game. And maybe they'll pick it up, maybe not, because there are thousands and thousands of games coming out all the time. I think it was kind of a little bit coincidence and just kind of the fact that I was putting it up online, just readily available. It was really easy for people to find and pick up. Because I think before I got all the big press in that January of last year, I was putting it up on Reddit game dev community just to get feedback every week. And because they do a thread that's just Feedback Friday to get, post your project, people will play it. And I think just what I thought was a small blog, like Tumblr blog, posted about it. And I think from there, people just kind of picked it up one by one. And it just kind of went from there.
Now, when you were developing the game, obviously it had to be first-person shooter because that was the nature of the game jam, but a lot of other animal simulator-type games take place in a third-person perspective. Did you ever think about retooling it, or what made you think that first-person was the best perspective for a cat simulator?
Yeah, when I started working with Firehose, we were talking about kind of seeing what we could kind of rejigger and fix up for the final release, and third person was one of those big things that we thought would really help the game. But yeah, since the game jam was originally about a first person, make a first person game, that's kind of where the roots were, and it would have taken a lot of work to kind of retool it into a third person game. And then for me, I think the reason I kind of came up with this idea for that game jam was that I always wanted to play a game where you saw the world through the eyes of a cat. Because that's like a perspective that you don't really get to see often. So I think having a third person might have taken away from that a little bit, where you're not necessarily the cat, you're just kind of controlling a cat character. So the gameplay could be the same, but I think the experience would have been a little bit different.
You said you've always wanted to see through the eyes of a cat, so this wasn't just an attempt to capitalize on the internet's fascination with cats?
No, that's another thing that I get asked a lot by people who see the game. They're like, oh, you just, went on Reddit and saw all the cat pictures and made a game for them. And no, honestly, it was, for this game jam, I was like, I want to do a first-person game. And I always grew up with cats. I love cats. And I was just thinking about, like, interesting games that I haven't seen before. And my mind just went to cats. And I was like, well, I want to play a game with cats in it. Like, I honestly was just trying to make a game that I would enjoy playing. And totally forgot that everybody on the internet loves cats, and that a lot of other people were looking for a game like this too.
Well, you are the first player of your game. If you're not going to be happy with it, chances are nobody else will be either.
Right, yeah.
It seems like animal simulators in general are also quite popular on the internet. Not only whimsical stuff like Goat Simulator, but also more thoughtful games like Shelter 2, which technically isn't an animal simulator, but you do play as an animal. Do you see any sort of a theme or connective tissue between these games that are making them popular? That do we suddenly, as a society, feel a need to get in touch with our animalistic side, or is this just our attempt to reconnect with nature after sitting in front of a computer for too long?
I think, for the past few years, or 10, 20 years, a lot of the games, like big name games, AAA games, have always been like, you're this really powerful guy going around and shooting things. And I think, with the rise of like the indie games that have come out in the past few years, a lot of people are seeing that, you know, you can experience different things in games than just running around shooting things. And I think, you know, we kind of get drawn to animals just because they're, you know, we have experience with them. And it's a unique perspective that you don't really get to see often. And, you know, you can watch documentaries or whatnot, or read about animals, but actually playing a game, like playing as that animal is a very unique experience. And I think it's something that it's new for people, and people are kind of tired of, you know, the old style games, and they want to see something new. And you know, there's a lot of animals, so there's a lot of different paths to go with animal type games.
That's true. Historically, animal-based games nonetheless take a aspect of the fantastic for their games, such as Echo the Dolphin. And even those games, when was the last time we saw a new Echo game?
Right, yeah.
You know, nowadays we're more often playing as, you know, the beefy white male who's going around gunning everything down.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a nice change to be the beefy white cat going around knocking everything down.
Yeah.
Speaking of these games being popular, I saw a similar game just came out. It's called My Garbage Cat Wakes Me Up at 3 a.m. every day. It's a 2D game, and you go around playing as a cat knocking everything off the shelf. What do you think of that? Have you already demonstrated the popularity of this genre, that they're already, excuse the pun, copycats?
Yeah, I actually did see that recently, and it's interesting. You never really know for sure if anyone's, you know, seen your game and was inspired by it, or if they had come up with it on their own. Because when I started this game, when I started the Game Jam, I honestly had not seen a game where you play as a cat. And you know, after I had started development, I was curious, so I started Googling, you know, just different, you know, cat games, cat simulator games. And I actually found like 2 or 3 similar type games there was one that was kind of a quick, I think it was probably also a Game Jam, like first person, a 3D first person cat game. And then there was also like an iOS game that came out in 2012 that was 2D, and it was very similar to the Garbage Cat game, where it's basically a platformer where you walk around and knock things off. And since I've been working on the game, I have seen a few other type games. There was one, I believe it was made in Unreal. It was called Percore. It was a third-person game, and it was very similar, where you walk around a house and you can do cat stuff. But they had the camera back as a third-person perspective. So I definitely wasn't the first person to make a game where you're a cat messing stuff up. And you know, honestly, I hope that it does actually inspire people to make other cat games, because I think there definitely need to be more cat games.
Excellent. So you weren't the first, and you hope to not be the last.
Right.
Now, while you were working on this game for 2 years, and it has been in the works for quite a while, what were some of the biggest challenges you encountered in bringing this game to bear? Because, as I understand it, you are pretty much not only the lead developer, but the only developer. Did you have to exert or learn a variety of skills to make this game yourself?
Yeah, definitely. I think I got lucky with the concept, and at least a lot of the marketing, where you know, it got kind of popular early on, and it's a very simple concept to show people, and they kind of catch on. But yeah, a lot of the development stuff, when I was starting, I was very new to the tools. I was using Unity, and you know, I had taken some, you know, programming classes or whatever, but I was more skilled on the art side. So a lot of the early workings of the game were difficult to put together, because I wasn't very familiar with Unity or the programming. So, you know, over the whole development, I've been learning brand new things, and I'm definitely much better at development now that we're you know, about to launch the game than I was when I started. So I think that a lot of the struggles, for me at least, were programming related.
Did you have any collaborators on this game, and if so, how did you find them?
When I started, it was just me, and when I started getting a bunch of press for the game, I started talking with Firehose Games, which was actually here in the Boston area as well, and they were trying to start a accelerator type program where they take on independent developers and kind of help them with marketing, business, and just general development stuff, so that you know, smaller teams like me could, you know, focus on making a really great game. Yeah, it just happened to be like the right place, right time type thing. We started talking about it, and yeah, and then we just started collaborating. I think it was before PAX East, that a few months after the big press burst, and they definitely been helping with the business end and some of the marketing, and even some people here have been helping with like on the art side and helping crank out content and kind of rework some of the design stuff. Yeah, so I'm the only person who's been doing like the coding and most of the design stuff. But there are a few people that are working kind of part-time with me here at Firehose just to get the game done.
And when you say here at Firehose, are they your full-time employer?
They're more like collaborators. So I'm my own kind of entity, developer, and like I own the rights to the game, and they help with, like I said, business and all that, and desk space. I'm actually at their office right now, and yeah, so we're basically just just like collaborating, where they'll working together, and we end up splitting the revenue once the game comes out.
So when you're at their office and they see you working on Catlateral Damage, it's not like, stop working on that pet project of yours. You have to work on our stuff.
Right.
You actually are working on their stuff.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Now, another aid you had in creating this game was you actually majored in interactive media and game design at WPI, a alma mater that we share. Mm-hmm. How much did having a formal education in game design prepare you to create a cat simulator?
I'm not 100% sure. That's a thing that I've thought about a bunch, is like, would I have been better off kind of getting just, game development experience rather than a formal education? But I think personally it really helped me to kind of get started, because I feel like I need kind of organization and, the scheduling and just kind of projects to work on, because without that, at least a few years ago, I was not, it was hard to motivate myself to get going on certain things. So I think, having that kind of structure was helpful, and also just having professors and other students that, are in the same field really helped. And even now, like, there are other developers that have graduated WPI that I know of. So it was kind of like a networking thing too, where instead of just, starting new and having to meet all these people, I already knew a bunch of people from school that are in the industry. So I think for me it was quite helpful to get started, and it was a nice launching pad into making games full time.
And you also have the benefit of living and working in the Boston area, which has a thriving indie scene and a lot of weekly meetups that you can participate in.
Yeah, that's been great.
There was one key point in Catlateral Damage's development that really stands out for me, and that was when you had your game featured on PewDiePie's channel on YouTube. Mm-hmm. I mean, that video has gotten over 4 million views, so you can talk about Rock Paper Shotgun and Kotaku, but that is a phenomenal amount of exposure. How did it feel to see your game show up on the most popular YouTube channel there is?
Yeah, that was insane. I remember the day that happened, because we were preparing to launch our Kickstarter, and we were talking about we need to talk to press or whatever, so that to get a lot of eyes on the Kickstarter, so we can meet our funding goal and all that. And I believe he put the video up like a week or two before we launched the Kickstarter. And it was just one of those things where I was on Twitter or whatever, and I have a search set up for if people talk about the game, and it was just like coming in really fast, and just a lot of people like constantly posting about the video. And I had gotten some pretty big YouTubers before, like Markiplier and like Ann Venom, some other popular YouTubers that have made videos of the game and have gotten us some attention. But yeah, this was like the big one where you know that you've made it when PewDiePie makes a video of your game, and it was crazy. I remember because we weren't really ready to. It was halfway through development. We were not ready to sell it, and we were just about to launch a Kickstarter, so it was kind of like an awkward spot. And I remember when the video went up, I was like, well, we need to do something. So I changed the website to add like a mailing list, so that all the people who saw the video who would be directed to the website would have somewhere to kind of take action and like sign up for something if they couldn't buy the game. But yeah, I think that was really, really helpful, because I think that's one of the big places where people hear about games these days is watching video game let's plays and other videos. And yeah, it was pretty awesome. Like, just personally seeing something that I made up on there, it was great.
As you said, the timing could not have been better because you launched your Kickstarter just a few weeks later in the spring or summer of 2014, looking for $40,000. You got over $60,000. Do you think that represents this unfulfilled desire to play as a cat, or was it the timing of PewDiePie's channel just funneling people to your Kickstarter?
Yeah, I think I think it's a combination of things. I think there were a few people who had seen the game when it got a lot of press a few months earlier. I think that definitely helped, that it was kind of in the back of people's minds. So when the Kickstarter came up, they were like, "Oh, I remember this. I'll back it." And yeah, definitely, there are a lot of just people who love cats, who just love the idea, and they really just wanted to help it. I think it definitely helped that we had some tiers, like adding people's cat photos to the game, and even some higher ones to add their cats as playable characters in the game, because people really love their animals, and they really, I think this Kickstarter really helped them kind of memorialize their pet in some kind of media that a lot of people are going to see. So I think, we have something like 20 playable cats and probably like over 230 photos of cats. So it's like there are a lot of people who wanted their pets to be a part of the project, and that really helped. And yeah, definitely the PewDiePie video, I'm sure, funneled a lot of people in as people were kind of hearing about the game. Yeah, I don't know. There are a lot of people who like cats.
Speaking of your Kickstarter, as I said, you raised $60,000, which is above your minimum goal, but short of the $100K stretch goal for a PlayStation 4 version. However, you did participate in Free the Games through OUYA, so are we going to be seeing Catlateral Damage on other systems?
I hope so. Like I said before, I am making the game in Unity, which is very easy to port to a variety of platforms. So we're supporting Windows, Mac, and Linux at launch on Steam, and also OUYA. And after that, if the game does well and we can justify putting development time and money into two other versions, I think we could definitely do PS4 version. We could do Xbox, even Wii U. I don't know. I would love to see it on a bunch of consoles, because it already supports like controllers on Steam. It plays really well with the controller, so I think it can definitely be on anything. Although maybe not touchscreens or mobile, because it's kind of hard to play first-person games on those. But I'd love to see it on consoles.
And of course, a first-person game is a natural fit for Oculus Rift.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I thought about too. Is like it'd be awesome to just since it is first-person, have that kind of immersion from VR. So Oculus Rift, maybe Valve's VR kit. If we end up doing PS4, I bet they would let us, test the Morpheus.
Sounds awesome. So 2 more quick questions. This game, at the time that this video airs, came out a week ago, but at the time that we're recording, it comes out tomorrow. You are less than 12 hours from launch. So how does that feel?
It's exciting. It's like you said, I've been working on this game for a while, and it's great to actually see it as a finished product. And I just can't wait to put it up and have people play it and just enjoy it.
I presume that you don't have any last-minute urgent items on your to-do list if you're able to take the time to talk to me.
I think there are a few bugs that need to get fixed, but they're very minor, very quick. Just playing through the game, making sure there's nothing major that's wrong. But overall, it's looking great so far.
Excellent. Now, this will be one of the first big games you've ever released that so prominently feature your name, and I want to know, how do you define success? What do you hope will happen next?
I mean, I think the obvious answer is, money. I think that's a big thing. But I think for me, I'm not aiming for a big, monetary success. I think making enough money to at least fund my next project would be nice, because I really enjoy working in games, and I really hate looking for jobs. So I really don't want to have to go work at a software company or something else that's going to destroy my soul. So making enough money to keep making games as an indie developer, I think would be a success for me. But even now, just seeing a lot of people enjoy the game is really satisfying. And I think even though we haven't launched yet, I think we've already seen a decent amount of success.
I would say so, and I hope that you obtain the success that you so well deserve. So thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us, and I look forward to seeing your game release and succeed.
Thank you.